Today we're reacting to the amazing Donkey Kong Metacritic scores. Will this be a day one purchase for us? Then a video game investment firm makes some wild predictions for GTA 6. Could they be right on the money? And 2 new Mortal Kombat trailers hit the web this week, but will they be a serious fatality or a flawless victory? Stick around to find out. Welcome, friends, to Good Playing With You, your weekly gaming news roundup. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my dedicated dojo of Matts, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Moulding.
You can call me Diddy Kong.
All right, Diddy. Before we hit the headlines, one quick note. We are 232 subs away from our goal of 1,000, so if you could hit the like and subscribe button, it'd greatly be appreciated. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump into the headlines of the week. First up, Donkey Kong is back, and his review scores are bringing the muscle. Moulding, take it away.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Bananza, the long-awaited return of Nintendo's favorite barrel-rolling ape, is finally here, releasing yesterday on the Switch 2. Does DK's newest adventure deliver? Well, as of yesterday, it's holding at a 91 on both OpenCritic and Metacritic, so it sounds like people aren't monkeying around here and are, in fact, going bananas. IGN gave it a perfect 100. Oh, come on, that was good. Yeah. IGN, oh, you might need to edit that. Okay, stop. Okay. IGN gave it a perfect 100, saying, quote, "The leader of the bunch is finally back to kick some tail in Donkey Kong Bananza, a brilliant successor to Super Mario Odyssey and a smashing return for a classic Nintendo character. DK's satisfying, expressive movement and powerful dynamic abilities create a truly groundbreaking adventure. Bananza is a constant crescendo across its 20-hour campaign and beyond, with puzzle platforming concepts that only grow richer as DK and Pauline dive deeper towards the planet core. Every element comes together in complete harmony to create Nintendo's first Switch 2 masterpiece." So it sounds like someone needed a cigarette after playing that one. And GameSpot wasn't quite as euphoric, but still gives it a 90, writing, "As part of the launch lineup for Switch 2, Donkey Kong Bananza nicely fills the gap for one of Nintendo's signature substantial single-player adventures. But more importantly, it's an excellent game in its own right and deserves to be mentioned alongside games like Mario Odyssey as among Nintendo's best recent work." And finally, Dexerto's Joe Pring had this to say: "From start to finish, Donkey Kong Bananza is a riot. I wrapped up my journey to Bananza's credits in a little over 20 hours. If you're not big on collectathons, there's still plenty of game here for platforming purists to enjoy. I can't recommend enough taking on the various trials. Think shrines from Breath of the Wild littered throughout the world. While performance issues were largely non-existent in handheld mode, quite severe frame rate drops were commonplace when docked, especially during certain boss battles, and I think we might have a little bit more of that later on." So, boys, what do you think of these reviews? Does it change any thoughts you may have had after watching the Direct last month? And Dan, as our resident Switch 2 owner, will you be picking this one up?
The puns are so painful, yet I love them. I hate them. Okay, great question. First off, can we back up 2 seconds? Did you say that the frame rate drops were happening docked and not handheld?
Undocked, correct.
What?
That's what Joe Pring says at Dexerto, yeah.
Oh, damn. Oh, that's a problem here. The reason being is I'm a docked player. I'm a big dock guy. I like a big dock.
I love docking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not.
Exactly. So frame rate, that's inexcusable. That's ridiculous. And then 20-hour campaign.
20 hours. $70, $20 or 20 hours.
And I got to be honest with you, like, I love Odyssey, but the replay value just wasn't, it's not as good as Galaxy. And I tried to replay it with the Switch 2, and I don't know. This one's kind of got me on the fence, boys. Lord, what are you thinking about this one?
I'm with you. I haven't really changed my outlook. I did see that IGN review, and my jaw dropped seeing the 10 out of 10. I could not believe that. I'm with you, Dan. I feel like Odyssey, you really play through it once and you put that thing down. And I can tell this looks exactly the same. Like, you can only collect so much. I feel like it looks like, I mean, they mentioned it wasn't a collectathon or whatever, but I'm like, this looks like you're just collecting and cruising around. And I mean, I'm with you on the docked business. Like, you who I would say you play handheld, what, like, even if generously, maybe 20% of the time, Dan, you're probably not even in that at all. So it's, I mean, if you're getting frame drops on docked, like how do you even manage that? That it seems like there's some docked infrastructure in that thing. So
They're probably shooting for a higher resolution with docked, and that's causing them some problems. I overlook some of that. It's not a huge deal, but the $70 for 20 hours like that, and I know there's more, and I know there's stuff to collect and all that sort of stuff. Molding, I don't know if they mentioned this, but Odyssey really did us dirty, where you couldn't find coins in the world unless you bought a stupid amiibo and scanned the amiibo, and then it would tell you where it was. And it was like, I mean, it was complete, it was a scam. It was a Nintendo scam. Did they say that they're going to try and scam us again with a required amiibo for this
I
one?
haven't seen anything about that. I've seen a lot of stuff about amiibos being available for all of these games, but I don't have any specifics on what they would do or what they would allow you to. But if it was successful for them with Odyssey, they are going to do it again. So
because yours truly fished and totally bought the stupid amiibo.
And how much are those a piece? Are those like $10?
No,
what are
okay,
those usually?
Tariffs. Wait, go ahead.
I think I saw the DK amiibo was announced. It was like $35.
Yep, with tariffs, they are through the roof now. It's insane. And so, I don't know. This one's going to be a wait and see for me, boys. And here's the thing: I really want to play this because they are a great time. But like Lord said, they're just a play it once and put it down sort of situation without a lot of replay value. I can't really justify $70. But of course, I wanted to play this so bad. So then I was like, you know what? GameFly is still a thing. And so I went down this rabbit.
Dan, you're stealing my thunder.
Okay, sorry, bro, but I went down this rabbit hole. Come with me. Like, you apparently
I can't wait to hear
come
this.
with me. Okay, sweet. So I realized earlier this week, I'm like, well, GameFly is still a thing. So I went back to their website, and believe me, the whole pricing structures and everything that they've got on that website are so awful and so hard to understand. I had to search other websites, and then I ended up sending them an email saying, your website sucks shit. But I was able to log in with my old account. Funny enough, I was a GameFly member back in 2014. One of the very last games that I rented from there was Donkey Kong Country Freeze for the Wii U. So I have a history, apparently, of GameFlying Donkey Kong from back in the day. Now they have this whole pricing structure, like it's really expensive if you want a brand new game, but then you can get like a $9 basic entry thing, but you have to wait a couple of weeks to get the game or what. I don't mind waiting a couple of weeks, but I think, boys, it might be like, 2014 all over again. I might be going back to GameFly to play this game. What do you guys think?
I'm so angry at you, Dan. This is what I was coming in here to say. There is a market right now. I totally think so for game rentals to come back.
Yep.
Because paying $70 for a 20-hour game is, to me, ridiculous when I can play, Baldur's Gate 3 for hundreds of hours for the same price. So I think there's a need for this. Whether people would actually use it or not is a different story. But this is the perfect type of game that you rent for 2 days. You rent over a weekend, play it as much as you want for that 20 hours, send it back, and never have to think about it again. And I lament and miss those old days of being able to rent old Nintendo games and beating it and sending it back and never playing it again.
I mean, where do I invest? I think that's a great idea. It's so spot on. I mean, damn, is it time to just get a little Blockbuster back? Like a hint of Blockbuster, please? Like,
should be.
I think we are at that level. I mean, with all the talk with physical stuff too, I mean, come on, it's like, it's strike while the iron's hot.
Right. And here's the pivot though. GameStop should go into rentals at this point.
Absolutely.
They need something.
Absolutely.
And look, with Nintendo and Xbox pushing the price up to $80, you are creating, as Malding said, a huge gap of what people will want to pay. And inside that gap, I see GameStop's future. I see GameFly taking off. I see my ass renting Donkey Kong in about 2 weeks and then telling you guys all about it.
That's awesome. Yep. I think that's, I mean, I just want to say one more quick thing about it, just because, like, imagine a world where this game released with the Switch 2. Would everything be right? Because, Dan, you're waiting another 2 weeks. I don't know if you're playing Mario Kart anymore right now. Like, what the hell is the Switch 2 up to in this if you're not playing Donkey Kong.
Printing money. That's what they're doing. Printing money.
Yeah. It's just it's amazing that there's nothing really to play on this system right now, unless you wanted to fork over more money to get Cyberpunk, a key. It's just it seems like a really weird place for the system right now. If you like, just if you want my honest opinion, this is a really strange spot for the Switch 2.
I agree. But one more thing I wanted to talk or ask you about, Lord, was, like, I don't mind waiting because I'm cheap and I'm going to gamefly this sucker in about 2 weeks or whatever. But also it sounds like it might be a good idea to wait based on some of the technical issues that Malding had said. I know you were reading about an article on that.
Well, director of Bananza did an interview with a Spanish newspaper, and he even addresses these performance issues that have come out and people have spoken out about. So this is what he has to say. So he says, first, we've intentionally used effects to hit stop in slow motion to emphasize the impact, Takahashi says, presumably in reference to how the game depicts Donkey Kong's ability to destroy the environment. On the other hand, by using voxel technology, there are moments where the scenery undergoes big changes and destruction. We're aware that in these moments, the performance might be impacted a bit. Regardless, as you say, in general, the gameplay is fluid. Whenever the game produces changes at a great scale, we've prioritized fun and playability. It very interesting wordage, I feel like, in that, like, they're basically hiding the performance issues behind like features that they're saying. I think that's a strange way to go about it. I think we'll see patches come out and those will be fixed.
I agree. It sounds like this one could be a wait and see situation. I think that IGN 10 out of 10 is just so biased. I think they're sucking on that Nintendo dock so hard that they can't see it straight, and they can't really see any of these glitches because they're just so biased.
Yeah.
Now, it might be that the game is so fun that they overlook these things. I mean,
but you played it.
I did play it. It was very schizophrenic. It's also not my type of game, so I fully admit that. Like, I'm completely biased, probably against it more than I am for it. But it might be that if you're a platformer, that this is just an incredible game. That one review that said, that there's this Legend of Zelda type of system there, that it has me. That I love. I love that idea. That sounds great. So maybe the game is just so good, but 20 hours. That's crazy.
I'm sure that's just main campaign, and there's a lot of other crap and coins I'm going to bet they're collecting.
I think that's also true.
But
I think if you're wanting to collect it all, like Pokemon, you're going to grab it all in more time.
Yep, but I also think the $10 plan from Game Pass sounds great for this sort of situation.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's move on to another game, and that could be potentially, even more with $80, and that is GTA 6. But before we talk about that one, Malding, why don't you tell us about this Riot?
Yeah, this week's episode is, of course, brought to you by our friends at Instant Riot. Instant Riot is a clothing brand for gamers, pop culture enthusiasts, and everyone in between. Head on over to instantriot.com to check them out. And they just so happen to be the official partner for Good Playing With You merch. Enter code FIRSTRIOT for 10% off your first order. Big thank you to our friends over there at Instant Riot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Now let's move on to talk about GTA 6, though, because we can never talk about this one too much, or at least until it comes out. I'm super pumped, and I know you guys are too. And most recently, some game investment firm made some wild speculation and numbers. And basically, there were 3 things that they were speculating about, and then one bonus thing I want to talk to you guys about. So let me read the article real quick, and then I want to get your take on this. So this is Blair Marnell at GameSpot, and he writes, Grand Theft Auto 6 will clear $7.6 billion in the first 60 days. He says basically making predictions about GTA 6 is a bit tricky considering that the game itself is still at least 10 months away. Boo hiss, I know. But it's not a question about whether 6 will be a hit, but how big of a hit and how far will the impact be felt. Video game venture capitalist firm Kavoy recently released its projections for GTA 6, and it's predicting that Rockstar Games' latest title will reach to $7.6 billion in revenue in just 60 days after launch. Josh Chapman, a managing partner of Convoy, shared the company's GTA 6 forecast on LinkedIn earlier this week. Convoy's analysis makes certain assumptions that have yet to be confirmed by Rockstar, including an $80 base price and a $2 billion budget for the game itself. Okay, so that's all of the stuff out of the way. Now let's talk about the speculation that the analysts are expecting for this, and this is what I wanted to hear from you guys. One, GTA 6 will recoup its estimated $2 billion budget in under 30 days and go on to become the biggest gaming launch of all time while shattering records for copies sold and revenue generated. By the end of the second month, Kavoy predicts that the game's total revenue will be $7.6 billion. Next, number two. Convoy said that GTA 6 will introduce a new UGC platform that allows mod creators to build their own areas of the game, which will allow them to potentially be paid for their efforts through a creator economy that mimics Fortnite and Roblox. So new user experiences created and paid for by the community to these mod creators, and that would be available on console as well. Three, one of the last predictions is that GTA 6 will feature a 200-person lobby and a system that allows other players to steal weapons and items from each other. He didn't say if that was permanent or what, but that sounds a little scary. And then a bonus one for you. This isn't from Convoy, but this was listed in the article as one of the predictions that have been out there recently. Rockstar has been very secretive about GTA 6 details, but at least one leak has suggested that Drake will have his own radio station in the game. So lots of random leaks here, gentlemen. What do you think about them?
Go for it, Malding. Take it away.
No, I think there's some really great stuff that they're right on the money about. It is going to be the biggest entertainment property ever.
Yeah.
That I have no doubt about whatsoever. Can you back it up to what did they say the budget was on this?
So they're estimating that the budget was $2 billion for the game itself.
$2 billion.
Yes, but it will make $7.6 billion in 60 days after launch.
So I first want to try to break down and ask you guys, what in the world could cost $2 billion? Is it marketing? I wonder if marketing's included in that, or distribution. Like, it can't be that it costs $2 billion to make this game, but I guess it does. But that's crazy.
I guess on one hand it is two games, because you've got the actual story campaign, and then you've got the online part, which is completely separate. So there are two games there. But also we do know that it hasn't exactly been in development that long. I mean, they said it was like a regular 4 or 5 year. It's not like it's been in the 12 years that we've been waiting. They haven't been working on it that whole time. So I agree. I'm surprised.
Now, if that $2 billion includes all the online content that they're preparing to release with it, then that maybe makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so that's that. The speed at which they say, I think I agree. I think I agree that that's what it's going to be. And there's no way it's going to be $80. It's going to be $100. That's my guess. It's going to be $100 game.
Yeah,
I can see that.
So that would make it more believable to me that they'd be able to hit that number. But that 7 point whatever billion dollar number in 60 days, that I think it's a little far-fetched.
I do love the idea of bringing on the mod creators and giving them money to create content for the game. I've never
I agree with that, but let me cut you off for 1 second here.
Sure.
Are they making they make honestly the game, the majority of what they're making the sales on are the shark cards, and can mods danger shark cards? I mean, there's got to be some lengthy review process. I don't know if it would give you some sort of superpowers or some sort of stuff they would alter the world that might affect their own. I don't know. I really want to believe this is true, but they're messing with Rockstar's money when you're changing the world that they're constantly working on.
I think it would be a separate area. I don't think it would. Yeah, it would be like
as a separate area. I could see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be only available these mods would only be available in the single player version of the game and not the multiplayer version.
I could see that. Good plugs. Good plugs.
I see that. I mean, I think it's totally who knows? I think everybody is waiting for this game to come out, and I don't think I've seen hype around a game like this ever. And they're doing a great job of making sure it stays in the news cycle for it's going to be in the news cycle for another 10 months until it releases. Yeah. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it makes that insane $7 billion mark. Which is
what do you think about Yeah, but what do you think about the 200-person lobbies? Because their lobbies are already chaotic enough as it is. And in fact, you really want to like run drugs and sell your drugs and everything in the game and the online portion with as little people on the server as possible, because then you have the less chance of getting all of your contraband stolen.
Well,
And
it
200
depends on
people,
what type of player you are. So I think some people love that competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're saying
I
the map
don't.
is also as big as they're making it out to be, they're saying it's gonna be this huge map, like absolutely massive. So if everyone's spaced apart in a more like natural way, spread across the map, then I think that'd be. I mean, of course they can come together, but if it takes time, maybe people stay in their little areas. I would love to think that they like hang out in their little like in their hood and they just stay there.
They're
and
like
they're
little
doing
enclaves.
yeah. Because like
I'm hanging out in South Beach.
exactly. I think that'd be great. Like a throw it back to like San Andreas kind of style where you have like the gangs and the turf, and
Yeah.
I thought that was such a fun mechanic. So I think it's possible. I mean 200, I feel like with all the hype around this and how popular online is, I'd be surprised if it was not 200. That's my take.
I think 200 sounds accurate.
Yeah.
What I want is private lobbies where just me and my buddies can be in there hanging out, and then I can steal from them and make them mad. That's what I want.
What I want is to spend the whole game on the online mode when I'm in the online mode, and not 50% of the game in the goddamn clouds. That's what I really want, because the loading times are atrocious, even on these current gen consoles. Oh my, I can't even. It doesn't even look that good. And that's only loading like 20, 40 people. If I'm loading 200 people, I'm going to be spending more time in the clouds that can go F themselves.
And please fix the UI. Like that's my biggest. That's like the weird menu.
Yeah, all 10 of them. They're like 20 UIs and menus and stuff like that.
I couldn't hang with that stuff. That stuff was driving me nuts when I was
playing. They have a lot to improve on, but it has been 12 years in their defense. But yes, they have a lot to work on.
They really do.
Yeah.
And before we move on to our next episode, speaking of putting it in the work, I just want to let people know who are you might be listening or watching on YouTube version that we have a new YouTube Shorts channel. So please check us out. We're moving all of our Shorts content on there. So if you are interested and you like our Shorts content, or even if you don't, please go and subscribe there, because we can definitely use the help. All right, moving on though, I want to talk about people that are really putting on the work, and those are the creators of Mortal Kombat. Definitely some heat around that one, or the movie this week. Lord, you have a story about the trailers that just came out.
Yeah, so we got a couple trailers this week. Warner Brothers dropped one. The first one was like a teaser, and it was a Johnny Cage like 80s action flick parody type of deal where he's jumping over rockets and doing all this stuff, flipping off the camera, being a badass. And then today they dropped the official Mortal Kombat 2 trailer, which has all your favorite Mortal Kombat characters in it. It has Johnny Cage getting roped into this wild, the classic Mortal Kombat tournament, and he's just sort of like he plays sort of like his character in The Boys, like the badass, like handsome. He's like he's like washed up, right? In the
that's the impression I got. Yeah,
that was okay. So he's sort of like washed up. So he's kind of like coming back into the spotlight in Mortal Kombat, and it has like a bunch of great cast. It has Karl Urban, it has Adrian Rudolph, Martin Ford as Shao Kahn, which I thought was like a great cast because he looked really good. And then Jessica McNamee as Sonya Blade, and then Hiroyuki Sanada. Yeah, he's huge. Hanzo. And then we also had Tati Gabrielle, who's from the Heretic Prophet. She was also in there.
Heretic Prophet. She was in the 100, and then she's in the Last of Us show. She was in the Last of Us show.
And it also lists Joel McHale in here. So
Joel
McHale's got a credit in the in the flick as well.
I can't imagine him snapping any necks. Although he's a big dude in real life.
What did you guys? But like, what did you guys think? Did you guys?
I have
like
loved it.
Loved
my
it.
God, I loved it. So I'm just a giant fan of especially the original one, maybe because of the age I was when I saw it. I went to the movie theater and I loved it. And the soundtrack was awesome and I bought it and I loved it. I thought, so I worked on the last one. So on Mortal Kombat 1, I did promotions for it at Warner Brothers. And that came out during the pandemic. So it was one of those movies that we all had to watch at home. And I thought it was a fantastic return to this franchise. They had this new guy that was kind of doing the tournament, and I think he's in this one again too. He wasn't a named character from the games. He was just kind of this fish out of water guy. And that's, I think, what they're doing with Karl Urban in this one, is Johnny Cage as being that guy who doesn't know what's going on, but still is going in and fighting in the tournament. And it had everything that I wanted. It had Scorpion get over here. It had a little Sub-Zero action. It had someone getting cut in half. It had jumps and flips. And I love these movies because I see like they're actually blocking, like they're hitting and blocking, and they're not just taking a lot of punches to the face and not showing any damage. Like I feel like I'm watching actual fights, aside from the like Scorpion shooting out a harpoon, out of his hand. But I am so pumped. I'm really excited for this movie. I saw this trailer yesterday morning, bright and early, and was just like grinning from ear to ear, and I can't wait to see it.
I am not that excited, but I totally am happy that you are. Well, here's the thing. I made the mistake, and this is, if you haven't seen the trailer yet, and the B-roll, unfortunately, that we're showing is not the Red Band trailer, but that was the problem. I watched the Mortal Kombat trailer, and I was like, this one, I guess, is fine. I don't really know this cast that you just read off, but I do like Karl Urban from The Boys. And then I watched the unrated like Red Band trailer, and I was like, yes, this is the violence and blood and gore that we have come to expect and love from the series. And this one had a lot of it. It didn't quite have that moment that the last one kind of reboot had, where someone gets punched and the blood flies out, and then he freezes the blood and he grabs the blood and stabs the guy. That's probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a movie ever. And this one, I was hoping for another moment like that. It did have the guy splitting in half, which was fun, and lots of impalements. And so you gotta love a good impalement. So I definitely am in. I'm just not as high on life as Malding.
I appreciate that. Malding's so hyped. That is awesome to hear. I felt like we just like I could have used a little more practical effects in there. I thought that they were using a little bit, little too much CGI, and which isn't a problem. Like if it's done right, I think they have some time to polish it up a little bit before release. And you're right, there was a lot of fan service in there. We had like the original "Get Over Here" sound in there, which I was like, okay, that's great. I love those things because it does make me think. Like I'm like, okay, they actually brought on some people onto the set that know the games. Like they know you have to know something. I mean, I guess you could just consult your boy Chat GPT anymore, but I mean, I feel like they at least are doing some sort of research in some capacity to like appease the fans, which I'm with you, Malding. I saw the original Mortal Kombat at the drive-in movie theater.
Nice.
And so it's
you saw it in the 1950s.
Yeah, pretty. That's what it felt like. Like, holy smokes, that one came out ages ago. But I mean, I love that one. I love even Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I love all the silly goose Mortal Kombat. So, and I love I did like the reboot as well. So this could be. I think. I mean, I might not see this one in theaters exactly, but I'll definitely watch it.
This has Resident Evil kind of vibes for me.
Yeah,
like I love the series, guilty pleasure, and I watch them all the time. But
I think how Lord feels about Resident Evil is how I might feel about Mortal Kombat.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we should definitely hang out and watch that one when it comes out.
I would love
on
to.
demand.
Oh, so fun.
You can see it for the second time.
$30 to see it in Los Angeles.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I let you do it, and then we can watch it on demand and eat pizza and drink beer at my place and do a live stream of Mario Party or something.
Yes.
Well, if you're going to play the Mortal Kombat games when the movie comes out, you want to maybe make sure that you're not playing them on a Switch 2, because if it's not the right version or if that license isn't there, well, big Nintendo could ding your system. This is a crazy story. And Lord, you've been talking a lot about this, just the overreach of Nintendo on these consoles and the piracy and just how much they are really getting in our faces. And this is another story here that I just wanted to talk about real quick. It's an article from Tom Phillips at IGN, and it's entitled Nintendo Switch 2 owner says their console was banned after playing legitimate secondhand games another user had copied. And he writes, since the Switch 2's launch, reports have surfaced of Nintendo's new anti-piracy tactics, leaving users of the MiG Switch Splash device with bricked consoles, unable to access any online functionality, including numerous key console features such as the ability to download and play digital games. But amongst this, there's also been reports of innocent fans getting caught in Nintendo's crossfire. And the latest example is a user who said that they received a similar console ban for playing a legitimate physical game that they had bought secondhand from a prior owner who had apparently cloned it. In a lengthy thread on Reddit, Switch 2 owner Demanthe said their console was banned by Nintendo after loading up a selection of Switch 1 cartridges they had bought on Facebook Marketplace, but while the games were legitimate, they still triggered the console ban. Discussing the matter with Nintendo's customer support, Demanthe realized that they had unwittingly played games whose cartridges had previously been cloned onto a piracy-enabling device, such as the MiG Switch, whose licenses were then marked as pirated. So basically, he's writing on Reddit, a thief buys and rents the game, they make a copy for themselves using the MiG dumper, and then resell the original game, keeping a copy for themselves on their MiG. Then both of you get banned when the Switch 2 goes online. Only one of you has the cart, so that's the person that will be unbanned. But you have to reach out to Nintendo, you have to get them to take care of it, and luckily he was able to. He said the process of talking to Nintendo was pretty straightforward, and his console was unbanned shortly after providing Nintendo a conversation proof with the seller behind the Facebook Marketplace listing and a verification photo that showed he was in possession of the legitimate cartridges. The amount of info they had on me was crazy, Demanthe said of his experience chatting with Nintendo. They could see my DDWRT endpoints, the brand of my memory card, and they even knew I had an EVGA mouse and keyboard plugged into my Switch 2. While a rare situation for now, Demanthe raised the point that this matter will only become more common as more people purchase the Switch 2 consoles and more cloned secondhand games enter the used game market. In fact, a similar situation came to light last month when a Switch 2 owner who had bought a secondhand console itself at Target found the console had already been banned by Nintendo after they bought it. So a lot of licensing issues here, a lot of opportunity for messiness. Gentlemen, what are your reaction? What's going on?
Man, that's crazy. I mean, this is just the beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg on this type of shenanigans until they get this thing patched. It's very strange to me that they are able to look into the console and like see the SD card. And I mean, it's kind of funny to me when you say he's got a mouse and a keyboard hooked up to it. Who knows if he doesn't have a little shenanigans going on? Like, I don't think an average Switch 2 user is going to have a mouse and keyboard connected. Just saying.
That's interesting.
So I don't know if that's totally a fact. You never know. But this is something that it was bound to happen. I think we said it right when we heard this news that there was going to be this anti-piracy situation built into the system. Of course, legit players are going to get caught in the crossfire, and that was just bound to happen. So I think this was inevitable, and Nintendo really does need to get in there and do some sort of patchwork and remove this failsafe.
Molding?
Well, this doesn't excite me as much as Mortal Kombat 2 does, that's for sure. I mean, I don't have much to add other than I think it's crazy. I think the fact that you can even risk getting your system blocked like this by just getting a used game at GameStop is nuts to me. Or GameFly, exactly, the new rental system that we're going to build. I think that's crazy. It makes it adds another layer of the like, why would I even buy the system if I'm risking stuff by getting stuff used? There's not a lot of games to play on it. Like right now, there's just not a lot of reason for me to make this purchase. So it sucks. It's just a really bad form all around.
I agree. It's a bad look for Nintendo. And when they're trying to launch a new system, they are overreaching. They are looking draconian. And there has to be a better way to handle this. I agree, Molding. I think it could have waited. I think they need to convince the public because once the hype dies down, so are the sales because there isn't a lot behind this. And they can't risk having this many negative stories coming out about the system. So, man, I feel bad for them, but this was an unforced error, and they gave themselves a black eye on this. And the only question is this a beginning?
And I also want to add that I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we're the only ones of anything that I see that are this down on Nintendo. So I know we're down on them a lot, but I see everyone else is just sucking D. Like everyone else just seems to be loving it. And are they just ignoring this for access, or they don't want to stir up any issues with Nintendo? I don't know why it feels like we're the only ones that are pointing these things out.
Well, it could be A, we're assholes, or B, that I think that these games come and they hit people and they're imprinted on them when they're very young. And I can't tell you the number of times we've been told to F off online, but the majority of that comes from people who have grown up playing Nintendo games. They have an emotional response to these sorts of things that overwires any sort of logic. And I see their arguments online all the time. They're so passionate and they're so blind. They could never say anything bad about Nintendo. Look, I love Nintendo. Look, I'm a Switch 2 owner.
Yeah,
Look,
I
want
grew
to have
up
a
playing
great time
Nintendo as well.
Yeah, I agree. But you got to criticize them when they're wrong, and they're wrong here.
Oh, it's crazy how blatantly wrong they are. They haven't even tried to hide this situation where they just are like, yeah, we'll brick your system. Like, no way. I would never in a million years buy a used Switch 2. There would be no way.
No.
I would never. And like, not from GameStop, not from Facebook Marketplace. It's just now the third. It's which I don't know. Maybe that's what they wanted. They'd want to just make it so you don't resell this thing because nobody's going to buy it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We will see. Okay, well, talking about games being removed from systems, Lord, you had another story for us that was even more concerning because it's about sex, and we all love sex.
Yeah, so this is a very wild one. So Steam now prohibits games that violate the rules and standards of payment processors, banks, and more. And users are worried it might affect more than just certain kinds of adult content. So this comes from Games Radar's Catherine Lewis. So, as reported by Automaton, adding to the clauses covering bans on hate speech, sexually explicit images of real people, malware, and more, Steam now states that content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet network providers is not allowed. It adds, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. So in 2001, MasterCard announced it was extending its specialty merchant registration requirements, adding the banks that connect merchants to our network will need to certify that the seller of adult content has effective control in place to monitor, block, and where necessary, take down all illegal content. So that's an interesting quote. So that was sort of like, I think the beginning of it, that was tied to some Pornhub shenanigans. Yeah. And so that was sort of the beginning there. And then so looking at SteamDB, a lot of games have been pulled from the platform in the last day with obvious sexual themes, notably many with the word incest in their titles. It's not stated that this is due to the new rule, but the timing does align, and they'd certainly fall under the adult-only content umbrella. However, some Steam users feel that the rule changes feeds into the quiet normalization of financial censorship, with some concerned that it might end up affecting more than just adult content on the platform. This is in quotes, queer content gets flagged as explicit, even when it's PG, one writes, worried about what's to come. And this is another quotes, trans dev making a personal story, too controversial, surreal queer visual novel, sexualized, financial deplatforming in action. So this is a crazy one because to me, I am 100% with this is like serious financial censorship. It just, again, it's just like the banks control everything. My goodness, look at here. It's like they're just saying, no, we're not going to put this out. I get that, some of it, like you got the incest, strange content in the mix, but it's anything sexualized. It seems like Steam is putting the axe to. It's just a shocking turn of events. And I feel like, yes, this is a slippery slope. We're going to see more content like this get the axe. What do you guys think about this situation?
I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah?
I mean, from a lot of that description, I think I might be okay. I mean, listen, maybe you have to take these things on a case by case basis and not on a blanket statement. So when they put an explicit thing on like a gay themed game, like that kind of seems crazy to me. But why in the world is there incest games on there's no reason for that. And I do think people have to, big business and stuff, they have to protect themselves a little bit, and they're probably open to lawsuits if, say, a parent finds out that a kid used their bank account to buy an incest game. Like, that's nuts. There should be some protection there, and this is the banks, I think, protecting themselves from it. I think it has to be a case by case basis, and I'm kind of okay with a little bit of this.
I couldn't disagree more. I think what's scary here is that you now suddenly have Steam saying, oh, we're not going to control what's on our platform, good or bad, right or wrong, whatever. We don't control what's on our platform. The bank does. So suddenly the bank is now driving what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. To be honest with you, the bank shouldn't give a shit what's going on with the money and stuff like that. It should be the responsibility of Steam or Pornhub or anybody else to make sure.
I agree with that part. It should be it absolutely should. But if they're not taking that responsibility, someone's got to do it. It
shouldn't be MasterCard. It should be the person for the sales front. It should be the 7-Eleven deciding what sold in a 7-Eleven, but that's not what's happening here. It's the payment processor. So look, if you don't want to allow incest porn, I totally get it, and that sounds like a good idea, but the decision Steam should have said, this is our decision. They shouldn't have said, hey, we're letting the bank decide what's on our platform and what's not. And yeah, I agree. You can worry about scope creep when that happens with the LGBT stuff, because definitely that would be a bad situation if voices are suddenly silenced because of a bank turns out to be a bigot. But for right now, it's just weird who's pulling the strings and who's making the decisions here. And that's what has me a bit concerned.
Yeah. And it could be like, before we know it, could be like, well, we don't want, guns in, like games that depict guns, and then it's like, there you go. Yeah, it's like,
and then like Walmart sells guns, but all of a sudden MasterCard's like, well, we won't take your payment for guns. Oh shit, the Midwest would freak the fuck out.
It's true. Yeah, it's just it's a weird one.
I think we're aligned in that someone has to take responsibility for the stuff that is on there.
I think so.
And I absolutely think it should be Steam. But if they're not doing it, who does there? It can't be a free for all. It can't just be, you can have crazy illegal shit on there that everyone's like, oh, it's not our responsibility, it's their responsibility. Like, someone's got to take responsibility for this stuff. So I think we're a little bit aligned. I might be a little more conservative on it than you guys are.
It'll be interesting to watch the story and see what happens in the future. Another story, another controversy that's interesting to watch is Subnautica. This one's been getting messy over the past week, and it was a user-submitted story. Molding, you had this one.
Yeah, first off, big thank you to our good playing with you, good buddy Parker, for suggesting we discuss this story, because just like this season of Big Brother, Subnautica 2 is bringing the drama. Earlier this month, a major shakeup occurred at Unknown Worlds, developer of Subnautica 2. Publisher Krafton removed the studio's founders, and the game's planned early access window was pushed from 2025 to 2026. The core of the controversy is a whopping $250 million earnout bonus tied to hitting revenue targets by 2025. According to multiple reports, including one by Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, Krafton allegedly delayed the release and even limited support to avoid triggering the bonus payout. The founders responded by filing a lawsuit accusing Krafton of a months-long campaign to sabotage their release in order to deny them the payout. They point to contractual clauses forbidding termination without cause and claim Krafton cut back on marketing, localization, and leadership roles, a deliberate move to drop the game out of the earn-out window. Naturally, Crafton denies these claims, stating the delay was entirely driven by internal milestone reviews and playtest feedback aiming to enhance content and polish before launch. They also confirmed leaked internal slides showing that early builds lacked content features to support their quality concerns. Despite the turmoil, Crafton insists the early access delay is necessary to deliver a quality game and the financial incentives weren't a factor. However, the legal battle is just beginning, heading to court, and fans are also divided, even some threatening to boycott or delist the game from wish lists. So, boys, what do you think of this juicy drama? If anything, this puts Subnautica 2 directly on my radar where it wasn't before. And did you play the first game? And if so, what did you think?
I love this drama. I'm sorry. This is a fascinating story. And here's why this is really interesting. Yes, I did play Subnautica 1. It was a great idea. It wasn't quite there. 2 looks like they really figured it out, and I'm excited for it. But here's this big story is like, were these heads of the studio trying to push this game into quote unquote early access that wasn't ready because they wanted the bonus? And then Crafton, are they like the publishers who are just like, no, we're protecting this brand and we're protecting these? It's like if someone was trying to like, it could have been a cyberpunk situation here where the game's just not ready and they were financially greedy. At least that's what Crafton wants us to think, pushing this out, into the world before it deserves to be. But on the other hand, it's like these guys are like, hey, we're being shafted here. We had planned for an early release and you're taking it away from us. So it's interesting to see these two parties, and then we can finally see behind the scenes of like the publisher and the developer and see like what causes games to release so buggy. So I've let this fascinating snapshot, but even more fascinating was the drama where the internal review leaked. And I don't know if that was a Crafton move, but that was a masterstroke, because of course people, you're going to be against you thinking, how could you fire these game developers? You people are evil. You just want you didn't want to pay the bonus. But then they leaked documents showing the game's missing features. And that document was an internal review, and it was pretty in depth. And it was clear from reading this document. I was like, I want that feature. I would like that feature. And then it gets you thinking like, maybe they should have held this game back because I want it to release when it's ready. I don't want to buy it when it's in early access and has all these bugs and missing features. And there are biomes, 2 biomes missing. Like, that's really important in the Subnautica game. 2 biomes, that's a lot. And so it's like, well, shit, there wasn't a lot here. These people are rushing this out. So, man, I'm split. I see both sides, but it sure is juicy watching them go at each other's throats. And I'm curious to see what happens.
I mean, I'm like shocked. I knew Subnautica was popular, but damn, $250 million bonus popular. Honestly, I didn't really know that was where Subnautica was at these days, because it's like a pretty old game at this point. So,
but it was like a really huge indie. It even made it on Game Pass. So I feel like there's money to be made on this sequel
for sure. And I'm with you, Dan. What a wild story. I mean, I think we'll hear more about it, right? I'm hoping is this going to go to court, and are we going to live stream it? Because I'm ready to tune in and like see what, it probably is going to be a closed court case, unfortunately, but what a interesting, you're right. Like, you don't see this type of stuff really ever, like hardly ever. So it's a very fascinating story that I hope, who do you think? So Crafton, we're rooting for Crafton all day. We what are we thinking? Like,
I don't
hate
know who I'm really,
because I was on the side for the first part of the story. I was on the side of the developers. I'm like, of course the publisher is going to try to shaft them out of $250 million. But then Dan has totally nailed it. They were like, girl, we've got receipts. We can show you that it was shitty and that you don't deserve this money, and we got to push it. Yeah. So I go whatever. I'm like, Lord, whoever told me last, I'm agreeing with.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
Well, here's the thing. Not that I'm a business executive and I don't know how these deals are fully made, but maybe I don't think tying game development contracts to certain time. I know they want them to release in certain windows, but giving bonuses for certain windows only in like is going to create a poor work environment with crunch culture and all of that sort of stuff. Why not maybe give bonuses based on sales or something else? And then let's say, hey, winter is your biggest sales opportunity. You're going to potentially get your bonus if you release in winter. Incentivizes them that way, but do it based on sales. I don't understand why it has to be on the time frame, because we all know, look, these developers and crunch, and they're not lazy. They're doing what they can. But I think that would help mitigate and avoid situations like this where they're pushing out games that aren't ready, because that would damage the Subnautica brand. That would damage the developer, the publisher. I wouldn't like it. I don't think that a lot of people would really like it, and it would hurt. And even if they finish it later on or whatever, after it gets out of early access, I don't know if people are going to want to buy it. They're going to want to buy it when it works and when it has, we were complaining about just a few frame rate drops of Donkey Kong, and this game's missing a whole bunch of content.
Yeah. So do we suspect this is happening way more behind the scenes with a lot of different?
Yes.
So this is
I think this explains why we get some.
I bet it's a common practice.
Games. Yeah.
Got it.
Like Techland, I love you, but I'm starting to suspect there are bonuses tied to your release schedule because your game's janky as fuck.
Yeah, then it makes all the sense in the world. I'm happy we got a peek into this then.
Yeah. Thanks, Parker, for putting this on our radar.
Agreed. Sure. It was an interesting story, and I'll be curious to see where that one goes to. Well, that pretty much wraps up everything we have this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening on a podcast, please tell 232 friends. And on behalf of Matthew Moulding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thanks for joining us. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good play with you.